What's going on, pros? This is Mike with another Dirty Promotions video. Indianapolis 2019 Tint Off, home of the Colts, and this is my last leg. This is my last interview that I will do. I'm so happy to be here with a man, perhaps one of the most decorated window film installers in history of the Tint Off. He has won perhaps more awards than any one installer that I've seen. I do a lot of research over the years, and because I'm a film installer, I love coming to competitions. I love competing. I've actually, perhaps I think 2002 Tint Off. Is that correct? The year that they started? I don't remember. I think that I did research, and I think it was 2002, the very first one. I went to that first one, and lo and behold, boom, right there. I met the podium. I got a third place. After that, I took a lot of interest in researching all the tint offs and stuff. Of recently and I went through all the history, and this name kept coming up and kept coming up. And I go, fuck, man, this guy has won so many times, been on the podium so many times. And you know what? In actually multiple divisions, flat glass, automotive, and stuff like that. So I'm tickled pink. I'm here to introduce the man that rescued me from the back of my pickup, from my fucking one-star hotel. He brought me into his nice hotel. He's just that nice and kind of a person. Let me go ahead and introduce to you the one and only multiple award-winning Mr. Chris Brooks. How you doing, Mr. Chris?
Good, man. How you doing?
I'm doing excellent. Now, everybody, when I've seen you trot and do your things on Facebook, you're in the forums, you're a window film installer, you enjoy being there, but a lot of people do not know the real Chris Brooks. A lot of people don't do research. It's part of what I do, because I'm a moderator of different groups, and so my thing is to always look at where people are coming from, et cetera, et cetera. And that's just not of interest of anybody. So a lot of people do not know who you are. Chris Brooks, the real Chris Brooks. First of all, they do not know how many times you've been at the podium. Perhaps the most times of anybody. As like I said, when I was doing research on you, and you didn't know me at that time, and I know you didn't know me, and I saw so many times your name kept coming up in so many different years of fucking Tint Offs, and I go, wow, this man is amazing. One of these days, I will meet him. And of course, I've met you in other Tint Offs and such. But right now, it's a very special year, 2019, and I'll go ahead and say why a little bit later. What is the man, Chris Brooks, beyond the multiple award-winning things? And we'll talk about it in a little bit, but let's go ahead and talk about Chris Brooks. Where you from, high school, what you done, how you got to window tinting, who taught you how to win, stuff like that.
So I'm born and raised in West Palm Beach, Florida. Went to high school in South Georgia. Learned how to tint basically on my own. No one really taught me. I had to, trial and error, mess up a whole bunch of cars, and then you learn how to tint on your own.
Did a young Chris Brooks, did you do any sports or anything in high school, or you just a student, or did you have part-time jobs in high school or anything?
Played football, ran track, learned how to bowl. My dad and my uncle owned a bowling alley. So it was just something to, just keep me going. Towards, I guess, 11th grade, I bought my first car, wanted to tint the windows, and there was no tint shop around. So I picked up a roll of some cheap stuff, and just like we all did, and tried it ourselves. That was in 1985. And
did you ever integrate yourself into a shop
a few times I worked, maybe 4 or 5 or 6 months with a few small shops around. Nothing major. Always felt like I needed a little bit extra. I needed to do something. I was always bored. I tinted windows for about 10 years, and then I stopped for a couple because it wasn't something that I felt was getting bigger at the time, but that was about 1990. So the economy really hadn't did anything. 1996, I started back again. Opened up a shop in Stewart, had that there for a few years. I went partners with somebody about 20 years ago. I've been on North Lake Boulevard now. October will be 20 years. I've been partners with this family, which is Coughs Transportation, and they opened up a sign shop. I opened up the tint shop with them. We've both grown together with wraps, with tint, wall murals, you name it. We do everything with film and vinyl.
That's what I've seen. So all your life you've been in Florida, from Florida.
Yep.
Okay. those 10 years that you were absent from window tinting, what were you doing? What were your special interests during that time? Because I know you have some other interests right now, and I'll talk about them a little bit.
Um, just odd, different jobs. I did construction. Thought I wanted to build decks for people. I was handy, but it was just not enough. I didn't feel like. I knew how to tint, so it was just one of those things. I was in Florida. My kids were young. I needed to make a quick buck, and I knew I could with window tint. So that's what drew me back into doing it. And here I am now, 31 years later.
Okay, now let's go ahead and talk since tinting. We always come back to it and stuff like that. You're self-taught. You tinted your own car. You probably integrated yourself in a couple of shops, and somehow you said the economy wasn't there. You needed some money, blah blah blah. So you went back and stuff like that. Now you are, like I said, perhaps one of the most decorated, most awards won in multiple categories in window film. When was your first one, Mr. Chris Brooks?
My first Tint Off was in 2006.
Okay.
So this will actually be my 11th contest as a competitor. 2008 was my first second place I got on. I hit the podium, and then I think I had a run of about 5 years that I was on the podium every year.
Oh fuck.
I made finals, didn't make the podium multiple times. Still making the top 10 or the top 6 in the world. It feels good. Your customers really like that, to know that you can keep up with, at my age, I can keep up with any 25-year-old that thinks he can work a whole day.
Chris, you besides, I don't know how it is that you got to. Did they invite you? How did you find out about the tint offs? Because I was doing tint offs, but at a regional level, because I didn't know about international. Like I said, I don't even remember how I got invited to 2002 tint off. I went, but before that, I think I started 97 doing regional tint offs for 3M, Matico, et cetera, chasing them around the country. They did one in Houston, Dallas, and these are not no fucking knockoff tint offs. These are like the best tinters will come from Sunbelt states. Yeah. Because the fucking redoing and redoing of stuff over and over again, we have so much volume. So anyway, so those were not Mickey Mouse tint offs. As a matter of fact, Highland France, one of the winners of an international tint off, either before or after 4 months or whatever, we met in a Texas. He is from Texas, a Texas regional tint off, and I didn't know at the time who he was. He didn't know at the time who I was. I don't know what year it was, 90s, upper 90s, and it was a 3M1. And we just had it out. We had this battle, badass. And at the end, our, who got first and second was decided at 1/4 of a fucking point. So I knew that I was always been competing at a very good national level, but like I said, it didn't happen in 2002 that I got to, okay, the international, that's the big one. I like it. Let's go. I went, and my very first try, boom, podium, third place. But I was so disgusted by the politics at that time, and I didn't, I didn't want to come back. I was just devastated. I was butthurt, I guess, and I didn't want to come back because a lot of the people felt that I won there, and it's not because they liked me. It's because after they judged the window, back then there was no fucking ropes or nothing. You could walk up to the car, all the car. We're only 36 competitors. Right now we're over 120, stuff like that, right? So yeah. It's more intense, right? So from those people went to go look at the car, blah, blah, blah. They all fucking cuddle around me. Bro, you got it, you got it, you got it. At the end of the day, they gave me third. I'm going to say it again. They gave me third. I thought, and they thought, and everybody consensus that I'd won, and I didn't, so I never came back. So I don't have 11 tint offs under my belt. You do. Kudos. Congratulations to that. So when was the very first time you said you got to the podium? 2006?
2008 was my first podium. So my second contest.
Nailed it.
Got a second place.
Next
year, I think the economy kind of went down 2009, 10. I believe 2011 was, I don't think there was one in 10, but there was one in 11. I took first place in that one.
Cool.
That was the year that I decided also that I feel like I do flat glass at the shop.
Yeah.
Why not try the flat glass there too? So I was one of the first people to integrate doing both contests at the same time.
Yeah.
I took a second place my first year in
Shit.
flat glass. So I knew I was really good. No, I didn't know I was the best. I always feel like, or any window tinter is always going to feel like, well, I'm number one. I got this. I got this. Well, we beat ourselves here. At our shop, we all do 100%, or we say we do.
No video, didn't happen.
Correct. But here, we beat ourselves. I beat my own self. I've forgotten tools. I've stood on my own drop cloth when I held up my done sign.
Yes.
I've done the same dumb things that other people have, but that drive is, I can do better next year. Makes me want to come back. So I'm here one more time.
Same thing for me, man. I always post, and I'm aggressive sometimes when I post. I know you're not. You're very, very humble, but I'm not. I'm a fucking dick sometimes when I post and say that I'm going to go behead everybody. I want to eat their little babies or do this, do that. I mean, I'm just a hardcore competitor. And it's not that I want anybody to lose. It's just that I want to win. Regardless, if you're my pal or not, or I came say hi or dinner or whatever, I come here. I didn't fucking traverse oceans of states to say hi to you or to anybody. I came to win. I actually am here to do two categories. Flat for the first time in my life, and auto. Like you. I do flat. I believe I can do it very well. I think I can do it very well. I have no idea why I never did it before. Because my focus has always been auto. I truly believe, I don't know if you would share the same or not, but I truly believe auto is just more difficult than flat glass. That's what I believe. I don't know if you have the same.
Well, you'll find out.
Yeah, I guess so. Like you said, the only thing we can only beat ourselves because we get nervous. We do this. We try to fucking do some MacGyver steps that we're not supposed to. We start getting nervous, and then we lose our shit. So that's beating ourselves. I'm 100% correct. In all the competitions that you've won, Mr. Brooks, and that you've attended to, what do you think? Which competition do you think has been the best winning for you? Like the most memorable, like the one that you're most proud of?
So I haven't podiumed. I mean, I'm proud of all of them. Whether I podiumed or not, I feel like I'm still proud of myself. I made the accomplishment to come here to compete just like I set out to do. I always set my expectations just like most people do, higher than we can get. If we don't win, we kind of beat ourselves up. That night, don't talk to us. Leave me alone. Let me sorrow in a beer. Like I said, I've been to the finals multiple times and not made the podium, and I had a 3-year dry spell of that. Last year, they had the customer service award. It felt great to get a first place in that. So that was like another regeneration of maybe the new Chris Brooks, and we'll find out.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of like sometimes want to make a funny comment like, man, you come over here, hang around with Chris Brooks, and they'll probably give you an award.
That would be cool.
Because you're always winning awards. And then the last one was the customer service or something. I thought it was great. You talked about, and right now, that you didn't make the podium in some occasion. How close, Chris Brooks, how close has it been? Explain, we talked about it last night. How close has it been that you haven't been in a third? How many points?
Sometimes it's 1 point, but sometimes it was 15 points. But it was, like I said, I've left tools too. And they mark down what you, basically, they will show you a deduction for what you did wrong. And when you don't see any marks on your window and you know that you had that perfect window, but then you look down and there's your yellow squeegee on the floor and there's your drop cloth that you're standing on because you were nervous and you didn't put it up. So those cost you just enough points to keep you out of the finals. You can add your points up and you can see why you didn't make the finals.
I think last night, something you told me about a 0.3 of a point or something. Is that correct?
Yep.
Which one? That's the one I want to talk about.
I've been bumped from first to second in the flat glass competition, and
by
less than a half a point.
Oh man,
so
that is
you don't
heartbreaking.
Win, so the judges see one more thing and they deduct you for it.
That is heartbreaking. Okay, so the Chris Brooks behind the Tint Man. behind the award-winning Chris Brooks. You have special interest. We were talking about fishing.
Lots of
My
fishing.
God, I mean, you are a beast doing that. You want to talk a little bit about that, and also the Chris Brooks that loves tuning vehicles. What vehicle do you have, first of all?
So right now I'm driving a 2015. It's souped up a little bit.
Uh huh. Let's talk about
It's
that.
got a blower on top. It's, pretty much anything and everything you could do to it without opening the engine.
You love that.
Yeah,
You
just
love
bolt
it.
on. Yeah, I mean, all-wheel drive or two-wheel drive, 700 plus horsepower is a lot of fun.
Well,
Um,
yeah.
it'll get you to your job fast.
Oh yes, and you love that.
Yeah,
How much money you told me last night you dumped into your truck?
at least another 10 or 12 grand. I mean,
Well, but yeah, but because of
but that's
discounts,
not
but
retail.
retail, how much
Yeah,
really? About?
I don't know, 18 grand maybe 20.
Man, you really have to love tuning your vehicle when you're throwing that much money into your truck. So that's the other part of Chris Brooks. He likes to go fast. He likes.
Adrenaline, man. And maybe that's what makes these competitions a little more fun. It's just that built-in adrenaline that you have. And a lot of us have it. You just got to know how to control it.
Well, now, let's go ahead and the other part of Chris Brooks you told me is that I didn't know nothing about the horse thing. Tell us something about the horse thing,
Oh,
Mr. Chris.
grew up on a semi-small farm in South Georgia, part of my life, and I got to be around, true countrymen.
Yes,
Yeah, I broke a few horses.
but you got paid very well for it.
Yeah, got
You,
paid
you told
well.
me you got paid like at least three times higher than the industry standard at that time. That's a lot of fucking money.
Yeah. Well, being 13, 12 years old and you're making $10 an hour, it's not a bad living.
Right now, some people are making $10 an hour,
Yeah.
and you were doing that when you're a young man. So breaking horse and all that kind of stuff, country and all that great stuff. And then what about the fisherman party? That is really really big because I know that when Chris Brooks is not tinting a fucking car, he's got a line in the water, and not just a Mickey Mouse. You got some big boats. You go offshore. You do big things. Tell us a little bit about that.
We go to the Bahamas a lot. Pray for them too right now. But we love to fish. We love the salt water. I mean, that's why we live in South Florida and we stay there. It's great weather all the time. You can jump in a boat and you can go 15 minutes out the Palm Beach Inlet, and I can grab half dozen yellowtail snappers and go home. It's
But you've taken charters, like you told me last
oh
night. You've
yeah,
taken charters out of Florida, where you're already surrounded by water and fish, but you love it so much. You love the adventure so much. You love the fishing part so much. You actually take charters to go other places to see what's up with that.
and anytime I go out of an area, if I'm going to the Keys, I'm gonna go fish there. If I go and visit Puerto Rico, I'm gonna fish there. I go to the Bahamas, I'm gonna fish there. So
What do you fish for? What are the bigger fish that you like to going after?
um, I love grouper, but pretty much any kind of snapper there is available. I'm not going to overfish the waters. I'm going to fish for what I need for that day and
Yeah, we talked
go
about
home.
it. You're a good conservative guy.
So
Yeah. Well, there's a little bit of distraction, obviously, in the back of your mind because we've been watching this all day long. Chris Brooks, you're from Florida. That guy is going straight into your home. Hopefully not. I think it's going to go up north and stuff like that. Tell us a little bit about what's going on in your mind with that.
just like in 2016, we had another storm, and my wife had to fly home during a Tint Off. So it's just weird that these have been scheduled through our hurricane season.
Yeah.
So being from South Florida, it's just something that's you've got to prepare for or be ready for. The house is all shuttered up. My family can go to the shop, which is a full poured concrete building. So if there is a larger, safety factor, they'll leave the house and they'll go to the shop and they'll still be safe. So in the back of my mind, it's my house, my family. Everybody's there in West Palm right now.
Hopefully, it's not a distraction, from 10 off because, I mean, we all come and aspire to do the same thing, to be zero distractions, to do our very best in this competition that we all come to. You did a very smart thing by flying out very early, but it's really just part of your routine. You don't cut it like you don't land on Tuesday because tomorrow is going to be a thing. I did that stupidity one time, leaving McAllen, and one of my planes got delayed. and then the other one got delayed. And long story short, I didn't make it to the competition. I cried like a little boy because I love competing. I hated the fact that I was grounded, not by my colleagues. I was grounded by a damn plane, in the
Right.
competition. So you did a very smart thing. Elio Albello from Florida, on the other hand,
Orlando.
Orlando, okay, yeah, he was supposed to come in, inboxes me and fuck Mike, you jinxed me because they landed our, grounded our thing. So I don't know if he's coming, and a lot of other talented tenors like we're talking about, the Sun Belt or a very hot state that the window film is very popular. A lot of Floridians come over here to the Tint Offs, and I hope that they're going to make it, or they're at least that they're going to be safe or do something right. So you did the right thing. You came early. It's good, but still, you are, in the back of your mind, like I said, we have to watch that guy, because if he doesn't turn up, like they're saying, and we're looking at, if he doesn't turn up, it's going straight into your shop, and fuck, I hope that doesn't happen. So the other part of what we were also discussing last night, just a couple of, over a couple of beers and stuff like that, you said that this perhaps might be your last tin off. Chris Brooks, is this your last hurrah?
In the back of my mind, last year was. And like I said, I took a first place, so it kind of re-enlightened me again. I'm missing one more place, basically. I'm not going to say what it is, but it's offered up at 10 grand. So if I can win another 10 grand and put another notch on my belt, I'm pretty sure I'm going to hang up my jacket.
Okay, but Chris Brooks is in you actually are you use the world's largest manufacturer of window film and Lumar window films.
That's correct.
They love you to death. They they're the biggest sponsor here. They're prominent. They're just a monster. You are a monster. You've grown with them. And a lot of people talk shit about one thing or another. The film's too expensive. A lot of things. But Chris Brooks, in Florida, cutthroat fucking competition, everything. You've made really something of yourself, your company. I know that your company, I'm sorry I didn't ask it, I'll ask it now. Koff's Window Tinting is not your name. It's not Brooks Tinting, it's not Chris Tinting, it's Koff's. And I think that, talking with you about it before, you made an intelligent decision about acquiring this company, correct? And keeping the name because it was already a town establishment, this, that. And, so tell us a little bit about that. When did you acquire Koff's and all that kind of stuff?
So I didn't acquire it. I basically went into partnership with one of the family members of Koff's Transportation.
Okay.
So the name is well known in South Florida. They started out in 1968, I believe it was, as a transportation company only.
Bro, that's established.
So lots of people know the name, see the name on towaway signs, on billboard signs. So it was a great family name to join hands in. My first 5 years, it was just like anybody else has to do. You got to build your reputation. Once you had that reputation, now it's your rollover customer. You have to learn how to keep that rollover customer. That rollover customer is going to bring 5 more if you do a good job. So you now have a foundation built as long as you get over that small business hump. Once you get over that, it just becomes a little easier in your daily routine. You go to work, you already have 2 to 3 weeks worth of work booked up. Today, you don't have to worry about what you're doing today. Those are the humps that you got to get over as a small business. Going in with a name that was well known and well liked in that county.
Yeah.
It was easy to introduce a new company to it, is all it was.
How many years have you been using Lumar window films?
I guess I'm going back to 1996 or 97.
My God, you've been through every.
Was in Fort Lauderdale.
Yes,
and that's where I started buying the first Lumar film.
I've bought Lumar many years, and I think I want to say I want to go back, if I remember correctly, Centaur, whenever that was.
The Centaur, yep.
What era? What decade was that? What years around?
I want to say that was from about 91, maybe. No, it was probably 95 to about 98 or 99.
Yeah, I think that era. I think you're correct.
You had the ATR.
Yes.
You had the Centaur. Well, guess what? They still have the ATR. Longest running film. Still use it today.
People say that. Yes.
It's a great film.
Yeah. So beyond window film, the many talents of Mr. Chris Brooks, some people do not know you actually apply tons and tons and tons of vinyl
Do a lot of wraps.
wraps
At least one a week.
in Florida.
Yeah, just a color change wrap.
Boats,
Lots of
buildings,
Yep.
you name it.
Wall murals.
Now, you've actually wrapped and done a lot of work for a lot of celebrities. You're discussing it right now. Can you talk about it? No, I can't, Mike. NDA, right?
That's correct.
But which are, let's say, some of the other ones that you can't talk about? You know, the big old, I mean, Chris Brooks is a big guy. He's got a great company you've done work for. Just tell us some that you can actually name.
Cheney Brothers is a nice big, company. G4S Securities. I tinted their entire North America office, a nice 4-story building. I've done multiple 5 and 6-story buildings.
But celebs like people like guys, celeb. If you can talk about them,
No,
you
I
can't.
No.
Oh man,
Just
shit.
because it's getting posted. So
No,
you gotta
well,
keep those.
well, that's cool, man. That's cool. All right, well, that's pretty much about it. Thanks a lot for your interview, Mr. Chris Brooks. Today is Monday. We're gonna go in and do our thing of what is it, registration?
Yeah,
Tomorrow, and Wednesday we start off, right?
Yep.
I am also contemplating on not doing the Tint Offs too much more. Not because of my age or anything, or because I'm bored or nothing. It's just that I'm getting more and more work that requires me to be home a little bit more often. The reason I came and took 2 weeks off on this one is because I didn't want to miss it. You know, I was going to drive and I was going to do something special, which is the Dirty Promotions, Dirty Tour, Dirty Does America kind of thing. And I want to talk to a lot of special people. And that's what I did. That's why I took extra days. And, you know, it really goes into my promotions things well and whatever. But even before I stepped on my pickup, even before I did anything, I knew I was going to interview Chris Brooks because we're going to be here, and eventually I was going to land in here and I was going to talk to you. And here you are. We're in your room. This is Monday. Now I get to actually check into my room, and thanks a lot for saving me for the back of my truck.
No doubt.
It was nice, but not so nice. You know, it's a lot better to sleep in here. We older folks, you know, we have paved the way for a lot of the new tinters, you know, and a lot of the stuff, Brooks, that is now out there. You know, do you run a plotter?
I don't.
Okay, well, a lot of the stuff that is going on nowadays, of course, a lot of people bash plotter guys versus hanger. It's a battle that there is no need. It's like anything else. It's like a cell phone. Does this, does that. It's just technology. It's evolving.
One guy needs it, one guy doesn't.
I mean, yeah, I mean, I'm glad you haven't. You're a guy that is always at the background. If somebody says Brooks and asks your opinion or you want, I mean, you're nice. You're a very nice guy. But a lot of people, like I said, do not go into your background. They do not know the real you. Multiple award-winning Mr. Chris Brooks. And Wednesday, let's go take a tour. Let's go tint a couple of windows of the cars. We ain't gonna tell you which ones that are in there, Mr. Chris Brooks. And let's go to take that tour. And on Wednesday, Mr. Chris Brooks, let's go ahead and give this guy some hell, okay? Thanks a lot for your interview, my man. And it's been a pleasure. Guys, I will wait for you tomorrow, Tuesday or Wednesday. Hope to meet up, meet Mr. Chris Brooks. And Chris Brooks, if your inbox gets full of requests from people around the world, is because, well, you can always deny him. And I know you're a shy guy, but anyway, it's just one of those things comes with interviews. Guys, have a great day. See you later.